This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Devoted to personal friendships.
Surrender the blueprints.
Fighting tooth and nail.
All that and more.
You ready to rock out with Mike Tyson?
We're running! We're running for tonight, and it feels so good.
Dude,
What?
I wonder what Mike Tyson's favorite rock band is. If he even listens to rock and roll, I'm sure he's heard some tunes in his day, but do you think the man actually, has this secret playlist of music, and he's just like, nobody's gonna know about... I'm sorry, hang on. Nobody's gonna know about this. It's so stupid, nobody's gonna know.
We know. We always know.
We know your secrets, Mike.
Bullfit.
It's all bullshit. Welcome to episode 81 of the Super Media Bros podcast. I'm Midnight Agent Raw.
I'm Okami.
What's up, guys? How you doing?
How are you?
As we await their response, that doesn't come. I'm still waiting.
We were panicking a little bit because he can hear me in his right ear. I can hear him in my left ear when nothing was turned on.
Yeah.
And I literally was like, hold on, let's put our headphones together, combined power of the sound.
And if you go look on our stupid pictures on Instagram, you can find that photo.
Yeah.
Well, by the time this airs, you will have seen it. And you can still see it.
But you can cross-reference and be like, oh, there's that picture right there.
That's Super Media Bros podcast on Instagram. Go fucking do it.
Go look at that stupid picture right fucking now.
Exactly.
If you haven't.
So, today's subject, as you've heard from our past couple of episodes, Anberlin.
One of my, if not my favorite band since high school for me. I was thoroughly shocked for one reason. A couple years ago, they had basically dismembered. You know, they stopped everything, stopped playing together, and they all did their own separate projects. And that saddened me so much. Heavy, heavy heart.
Oh, I know the feeling. Trust me.
Then I get an email, I think it was in April, if I'm not mistaken. And it's like, catch this Anberlin merchandise now. The band's getting back together. What the fuck is going on here?
Literally catch it out of the air because they're throwing it. It's like the drive-by that you want.
Yeah.
They're just driving by and they're just like, hey, yeet, catch our merchandise. Yeet. There it goes.
Yep. But they came back for a reunion tour, and I wanted to go to the show that was coming to Houston at some point, but I didn't have the money to afford it. But the point is, I was so happy that they kind of came back to do music together or just play their old tracks over and over again for a couple shows. I mean, I wanted to talk about that because I didn't think they were going to come back that soon. It was only
with 5 years.
5 years.
4 or 5 years. Well, 4 in 2018, but because they did a Under Oath invited them to play a one-off at I think a Christmas show or something with them, and they're like, okay. And then I guess it snowballed into them doing a U.S. tour run, which again, any band that splits and then comes back, you're gonna go see them because the same thing happened with me when Blink-182 had split up 2005. I had gotten to see them, and I was so sad. And then they came back in 2009. I was like, I have to see them, and I'm glad I got to. So I know the feeling.
I was at least glad that I got to watch them during their Vital release tour because I still remember that show to this day, just seeing Steven's face right there next to my face when he almost crowd surfed us as he was singing. I was like, oh my God, this is one of my best moments ever.
He's like, I'm going to sing you a love song.
Oh yeah.
It's going to be nice.
Inevitable.
Right in your face.
But no, he was singing Someone Anyone. And he was literally screaming in our faces at the time. I was like, oh my God, this is the best song to do it to.
It's like Someone Anyone. You're just like, I'm right here.
Yeah.
I'm here. I'm here.
Touch my hand.
Touch me.
Feel me. So I can get my satisfaction.
That's it. But yeah, I think what we're going to do today is we're going to run through their discography and kind of talk about. We're not going to go like too in depth with each one because that would be a whole series of podcasts, like just based on each album that they did.
Yeah.
But we're just going to kind of overview each track and talk about some of our favorite songs and all that good stuff. And it was weird because I didn't get into them until probably around, I don't know, like 2012, maybe. And I'd heard about them then. And when I read into them, I was like, they have all these albums out. And I found out that their first one was on Tooth and Nail. And I was like, why does that sound familiar? Of course, I know why it sounds familiar because I listened to a lot of bands that were on the Tooth and Nail label, but they were on the Solid State subsidiary, like Under Oath and Norma Jean and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went diving into what they had done.
Right.
And that was kind of the first little bit I'd heard about them. And their first album was Blueprints for the Black Market, which was like 2002-ish.
2003.
Yeah, I was going to say it's somewhere around there.
See, when I got introduced to them was when the second album came out, and a friend of mine in high school gave me both of them to listen to. So I did the deed and listened to the first one all the way through.
Back in the days of physical copies, everybody.
Right. Actual CDs, not streaming. We didn't have that shit. We had AOL freaking dial-up internet.
Imagine that now. Somebody just is like, hey, check these albums out. Okay. And they just hand you their phone.
Yeah.
Just bring it back later. Mm-hmm. Not going to happen.
But this was a good introduction to what the band it's what they sound like, basically. Now, there are some parts of the album that I didn't care for. There are some that I really do enjoy to this day, which there are staple songs on here, obviously. Ready Fuels is being one of them because that song literally kickstarted the album for one, and two, it kickstarted my interest in them because it was that very, not really so much a hardcore, but like a very like hard, like alternative punk rock sound to it, and it's very somewhat fast paced.
It had an emo sound to it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like old school, like kind of with some modern elements mixed in. I liked it.
And it kicks your adrenaline going a little bit because it kind of like pumps you up to like get, rocked out and pumped out. It's like, yeah, this is really cool. This is energizing a little bit. Another song that I was a big fan of was Glass to the Arson. Because if you take Ready Fuels and give it more of like an edge to it and a bit of a harder pump, like hit to it, that's what Glass of the Arson is. Because whenever Steven belts out towards like those like choruses and stuff, like you can definitely just feel like his vocals hitting you in the face at some parts. That's how I feel with that song. Like it's emotional to a degree. It's hard hitting, and I'm always a big fan of vocals. And Steven, like even to this day, I love his vocal work. No matter what he does, he can have a shitty ass song, but he can still sing beautifully. But I definitely enjoyed those two songs. I mean, there's a couple of them that I liked as well. Like you mentioned earlier, the love song.
Yeah, the Cure cover.
Cure cover.
That's a great song in general, and Anberlin did it justice whenever they because I'm funny about cover songs. I'm all for bands that do like note by note covers, or they'll do some of it in their own style, and then the rest, like they'll take the melody and they'll do it. But then you got covers like Marilyn Manson's Highway to Hell, which was
what
kind of, I don't know. I know there are people out there that probably like that cover a lot, but it's abysmal for me to listen to. This is not one of those cases. Like Anberlin really did a great job on that, and I really enjoyed Cold War Transmissions on this one too.
That was another goodie too.
It's not like you were going to say Goody Two Shoes.
I mean, I'm corny, but I'm not corny. Not that corny.
On the cob.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely, as far as their, this was before they got onto Universal, I think. Mm-hmm. This is well before that. So not a bad opening album, but a lot of people will probably like beat the crap out of it. It's not their best.
It's not. I'm saying this with as much respect and love as possible. So please, out there, do not take this the wrong way. This was their break when it came to like the Christian side of things, because the first two albums had a very God-based, Jesus-based, religion-based tone to a lot of their tracks. And I think that's what got them out, basically, was that breakaway, basically, in the music world. While I'll admit I had a phase where I did listen to a lot of Christian rock. I mean, not all of it was great, but there was some here and there that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I felt that there was something missing with the first two albums, at least. Now, there are some songs I like I said, but like I said, it's not their best work, even though it's a good introduction to what they're capable of doing. So,
speaking of the Christian rock bands and stuff, I'll tell you right now, like Demon Hunter is one of them, and like Living Sacrifice is another one that was pretty good. Which, funny enough, their second album, Never Take Friendship Personal, they had a lot of guests on this album, and Ryan from Demon Hunter was on the first song, title track, Never Take Friendship Personal. I know you mentioned you liked Paper Thin Hymn a lot on this one.
Oh my God. Like, I still remember that year in high school when I blazed through those first two albums, and I heard that build up with Paper Thin Hymn, and then just how it just slams. Like, it's just, if you ever feel emotions normally, crank it up to 11, and that's how you feel with this song, because like you just suddenly, I don't know how to explain it, you feel something if you don't feel it, like if you ever watch the music video for this song, it's basically depicting this couple going through some kind of treatment with, I think it's the girl, and they're basically trying to enjoy what life they have left together, whether it be, her dying or him running away or whatever. And it makes you like feel something, even though it's not like that typical like sob story kind of, tone to the song. It's hard hitting. It's a rock song. It's very energetic, but you can definitely feel there's something more to it than just that there.
It invokes empathy.
Yeah. And that is, like I said, that is my favorite track out of the whole album. Granted, there's a lot of good songs on here. Like Never Take Friendship Personal is a good song. Day Late's not a bad track, even though that's more of their like mainstream, and I'm quoting this heavily, like type song. Kind of like a cheese factor, but at the same time, it still has good qualities. The Feel Good track.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's mine.
That's yours, yeah.
Which they went ahead and they wound up re-recording this on a couple albums later, but still, like the first time hearing it, it's like, oh man, this is really good. I like the music video for it too, and I just like that was the one that was just like yes for me. They had some other like the guests on this one were really cool. They had Mike from Me Without You on here. They had Phil from Story of the Year and A Greek Fire. Like great guest work on this album.
I'll agree.
As a little bit of a step up from Blueprints. I mean, not by very much, but you can tell that this was the album that they started to kind of feel. They started to come into their own on this one.
Yeah,
and the next album, I think a lot of people really started to get into Anberlin on Cities,
which is a fantastic album, regardless of the prior two albums, how they transitioned. When you actually break away and listen to all albums back to back to back, you can hear the progression.
Yeah.
Slowly up until Cities. And Cities was like that good, pristine, like, okay, you've hit something. You've definitely gotten to a point where you're doing something wonderful. Now, what can we do from here?
You can do a lot from here. Like you can do the Unwinding Cable Car. You can do Godspeed. You can do Adelaide. Like all these great tracks on this album, man.
I mean, even Inevitable by far, that is one of the best like love songs that you can possibly make, and I will stick to that no matter what, because you just listen not to the lyrics, but just the delivery that Steven gives, and it's just again, it goes with like Paper Thin Hymn. It makes you feel something even if you've never felt it before, and that's how good he is. That's how good the band is when it comes to composing like certain key tracks of each album.
Did you get the excuse me? Did you get the special edition of this one by any chance?
I believe so. Yes,
because it's got the Promise with the When in Rome cover, and I love that song so much. Like these guys, like, and I hate that I go to like some of their covers, but like I'm a sucker for good covers. This is one of them, but it's definitely, you can tell like the bands that they cover are influences in their music.
Yeah.
This one again was probably like, as far as their earlier albums, this was definitely one of their better ones. In fact, like this is probably my second favorite of theirs.
It's definitely in the top 3 for me.
Oh, absolutely.
But my favorite track of this whole album, and it's a standout track for me, is Dismantle Repair.
Do it.
God damn. Like, you can take prior songs that have that same punch and amp it up.
Yep, punch.
Because there's a slight breakaway into, okay, he's very calm, very somber, and then it has like that hard-hitting guitar, and then you listen to that chorus, just, oh my God, like, I'm getting chills thinking about it. Steven just, you can feel his pain in this song. Like, it's just that good of a delivery with this song. It's, hands are like secrets that I want to keep from you. Words are like knives that want to cut me through, dismantle me down, repair. You dismantle me. He's basically talking about this person that he was with that just, something was wrong that was never told to him, and it was too late, basically, in a way. Bad relationship, going down the drain.
Hard relate.
Yeah.
Hard relate.
But you can hear the angst in his voice. You can hear the pain, the tears, just the anger, the disappointment, like all these emotions just in one line, one chorus.
And that's always the sign of a great frontman or a great vocalist or a great songwriter, musician, whatever you want to call it in general. When I think that's why we all love and listen to music in the first place, is because it invokes emotion. Even if it's something you don't think that you feel, you're going to feel it.
And I think that was probably my biggest takeaway from their whole discography in general. I felt so many different ways in life listening to particular tracks from each album as they released. And I've always had those moments where I feel a certain way. This song, I can go back to it and be like, okay, yeah, this definitely relates to how I feel. And I can do that all the time with these albums because they're that pinpoint for me. And I've always tell people that, what kind of music you listen to. I always tell them, like, this is my band. This has been my band since high school, like 2003. And that's never going to change because they're just, to me, they're that perfect to me as far as like how they affect me, how they influence me, how they relate to me,
They speak to you, man.
Yeah.
I'm going to speak to these people before we move on to the next album.
Who are you speaking to?
I'm speaking to these people listening. I'm going to speak about Podcoin real fast before we move on to the next thing.
Okay.
Before we dive deeper into their later albums.
Yeah, you want to hold on to your seats for this shit.
Yeah. But right now, did you know that if you were listening to this episode on Podcoin, that you'd be getting paid to listen to it?
What?
Yeah. You could get paid to listen to podcasts.
Holy fucking shit.
Exactly. Podcoin is an app that pays you to listen to podcasts. You can take the Podcoin that you were given and you can exchange it for things like Amazon gift cards. You can exchange it for AMC movie tickets. Like they just added that on to the fold.
So wait, all you people listen to our podcast, if you're not on Podcoin, what are you doing with yourself?
Exactly. And what you should be doing with yourself is going to the App Store that is on Apple or go to Google Play for Android and download the app. It's all free.
Stop listening to this episode right now and go do that. Go and download the app and then re-listen to this episode.
And everything that we've done.
Yeah. Because get paid to do this.
And
Come
get
on.
entertained at the same time. You can't be bored with us.
Win, win, win.
That's a lot of win. Winning.
That was, yeah. I was waiting for that fourth win. I was like, wait.
Wait, hang on. I'll do it. Go ahead.
There we go. Okay.
There you go. Cool.
I feel better now.
Exactly. I do too. I always feel good whenever I listen to Podcoin stuff.
When you ching.
When you chia pet. Chinga pet. Chinga pet.
Chinga
dude.
pet. There you go.
It's like bling bling and
Yeah,
see,
they're chinging. Look, they're listening to Podcoin right now.
the dogs are going crazy because they are getting all that sweet Podcoin. And if you use our offer code SUPERPOD when signing up, you can get 300 coins on us to start out with. On the spot.
Ping.
Let me do it again. Just for you.
Haha.
Now, we know we know there's a lot of people out there that listen to us, that listen to a lot of other podcasts that are either like us or completely different. Some of those people are sports fans, and we got you covered with the Franchise Tag Podcast.
Calling all sports fans, are you looking for an alternate source for sports news, scores, takes, and updates? Well, look no further on Franchise Tag Sports Podcast, hosted by me, Eric Salas. With the help of frequent guests, we'll give you all the latest and greatest on sports. That's right, I'm talking NFL, the occasional NBA and MLB, and yes, a lot more NFL. I've always loved watching the NFL, and there's no better way to talk sports than flipping on a microphone and giving my opinions on what goes on around the league. Tune in every week for brand new episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you stream your podcasts. You can also find us on Twitter at Franchise Tag Pod and on Instagram at Franchise Tag Sports. It's the Franchise Tag Sports Podcast. We got the sports, you just gotta press play.
Do it!
Right now.
Shy calls, and you must answer.
Or he's going to tag you in the face with his fist, like, really hard.
It's not really his fist, it's his, like, formation of hands on your throat.
When he does that, like when Shia LaBeouf was doing that whole squat down thing, it looks like he's trying to do like the DDP, like the diamond cutter symbol, but he's doing it like upside down instead.
Yeah.
The die cutter. He's like, you're going to die.
You're going to DD die.
Diamond, Dallas Page.
Diamond. Yeah.
Not you.
Die.
Not you, Odin.
No.
It's okay.
Call me nuts.
It's okay. Where were we?
I think we were on New Surrender
Okay.
in 2008. Now,
this was the album that the Feel Good drag was put out on. Again.
true, but also I was probably least impressed with this album amongst the rest of the albums. It just, don't get me wrong, like, it's a good listen to a degree. Compared to the other six, it's the weakest. Even with the first two albums that we talked about, there were still some noteworthy tracks on that one that I can recall. This one, I just felt a little...
And this was their Universal music debut, man.
But I think that was kind of like a weird transition, if I'm not mistaken. Like, it was like, okay, we're used to this one sound, now we're trying to find a way back into what we're doing now. I know it's exciting. It's unnerving.
It's unnerving.
But
they had a new producer on this. That might have had something to do with it, yeah.
probably.
Neil Avron. Which is, I mean, if you think about it, and I'm going to tell you like some of his work, and this might ring a bell for you. Newfound Glory, Switchfoot, Weezer, Yellow Card. Linkin Park.
Well, then why... Okay. You have that in your repertoire. I felt that this album should have been of that high quality. I don't know. I guess I'm the weird one of this one because that album should have shined a little bit more than it initially gave me.
Well, no, you're not the only one. I mean, like, it's not a terrible album again, but it's not their best album. And, you know, I think that says a lot as far as like how the next three like came to pass as far as their releases and stuff like that. Because this one was decent, but you can tell they started getting. It may have been that major label pressure too.
Probably.
So
like, I'm looking at the tracks now. And
yeah,
I remember, like, really the redone of Feel Good Drag, which was a lot harder than the original, which I absolutely love.
Yeah.
Young Life was a good song too because it was like a ode to like the teens of that era and the just growing up with all these problems that you have in life. It's like, look, we're all here together, kind of like a camaraderie kind of feel. I like that song. But a lot of the other tracks, I mean, they're listenable, but they're forgettable. Like, Blame Me, I mean, it's okay. Retrace is not bad. Disappear is pretty good, but not, great. But there's a lot of hit and miss on this one, like more than normal. Which I think you might be onto something. Just that pressure from the new album label. Just okay, we need something from you. So they were kind of like, okay, well, here's what we have.
Yep.
And just toss it out there. I was like, okay, this works. You gave us something. So.
And then they switched over, and they started to do an album called "Dark Is the Way, Light Is the Place."
Released in 2010.
Almost choked on my own spit there. I'm sorry. Let me do that again. "Dark is the way, light is a place." That's better.
With the album art of the falling horse.
Speaking of fallen horse, Odin's fallen over.
Ba-doom. I think Odin was the horse.
I am horse, hear me bork.
Hear me fall.
But yeah, so the album cover is really like totally like just black and white, and it's a horse.
Yeah.
And he's, you know, I mean, the more I look at, and I don't know, like I'm not laughing at it because it's what it is, but every time I look at album art, I kind of get like a story in my brain, and this is probably not the story these guys had in mind whatsoever with this, but in my mind, this is a jockey horse,
Yeah.
and he has busted his ass at the finish line. And he's just like, well,
He pretty much crushed the jockey.
and this is his album, Dark is the Way, Light is the Place, because he's just like, hello, darkness, my old friend.
Nay.
Nay.
Shit. What am I doing here?
But yeah, this was more of a step in the right direction.
I was thoroughly impressed with this album, even more so with Cities. Because this one just... There's a lot of standout tracks compared to the rest of the actual discography on this album in particular. The very first time I heard Impossible was when I first saw the music video. And not only is that song just like punchy and just like that typical Stephen Christian, just like mind-blowing vocal work, but the video, it's so out there. Like, all you see these like marbles, these like black like BBs just falling around everywhere. There's this one part where it's coming out of their mouths and like they flail their hair up in the air, and it's like all you see is these BBs flying around there. It's so weird, but it's interesting at the same time, because I mean that's kind of like how their artistic approach is with a lot of their stuff. Like the album artworks, that's pretty common thing. It's a standout from typical, like, okay, well, this is what the album is. Put this picture of it right here. No, there's some kind of meaning behind, like a deeper meaning behind their artwork and their music videos and their just artistic approaches. And that's what this video kind of reminded me of. Is just they're a underground like understanding, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, Impossible is just, it has that, in a way, like that 80s kind of like pop rock vibe, like undertone.
Yeah.
But with their actual style on top of it. And it sounds so good.
That's what I was going to say too, is like you can tell on this album that they took kind of everything they did before and made it into like a specific sound, but then added like newer things that they've learned on top of it. So basically you had like their classic sound, and then they just kind of like let's sprinkle some spices on this, and let's give it to them. Put a horse on the cover.
Slap it.
I really liked To the Wolves on this one, and Art of War. Those are two of my favorites on here. Depraved is good.
Yeah, Depraved was just one of those, just another like emotional feels. Like I can't praise these.
Oh bother.
Yeah, can't praise these songs enough. But yeah, To the Wolves is just that kind of, and you hear, and I'm going to say this now, you'll hear a lot of songs like To the Wolves from here on out. Like you'll know that one track that stands out because of that sound, like that one particular sound.
Do you think that's where this album is kind of where they were searching, like they spent the last few kind of searching and trying different things, and then when this album came out, this was where they found their footing.
Right, they found their niche.
The horse didn't find its footing, but I mean,
No, it fell flat on his face. Negative.
Oh man.
But yeah, like To the Wolves, there's a specific, I'm spitting all over the place. There's a specific sound.
Spit-cific.
Yeah. Like like certain blend of everything that you hear, and it's like, okay, I can pick that up from future songs in the coming up. But also, like you said, Art of War is pretty good too. Just another one of those like kind of like darker tone songs.
They had a really good producer on this album too, Brendan O'Brien. Dude, this dude has legitimately worked with the who's who of rock. He's done with STP, Pearl Jam, Neil Young, AC/DC, Aerosmith, the Chili Peppers, Korn, Offspring.
That tells you a lot right there.
Like My Chemical Romance, Gaslight Anthem, Wolfmother. I mean, The Fray. He's worked with so many bands, and you can tell that like he had his hands all over this one, because this is absolutely a fantastic album.
Oh yeah, I mean, like I said, aside from Cities, I mean, this is one of my top 3 albums too.
Oh yeah.
So
We move on to Vital.
And like I mentioned, this is the time era that I actually saw them live. Was a year after, well, so 6 months after, or a couple months after the album dropped, and they did their tour to Vital and everything like that. Again, with the, very artsy, makes you think kind of artwork with the waves crashing on the. I guess there's a couple. I can't really tell if it's just him by himself, but there's some guy in the water and he's just letting the water crash on him and stuff like that.
Was this like before or after the 30 Seconds to Mars tour they did? Because they toured with them too.
The tour was in February of 2013.
Okay, so I think this was after.
Yeah. Because they hit Houston. It was February 20-something, 23rd, I think it was, of that year. So.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But yeah, I think the tour stopped in March, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So.
Aaron Sprinkle came back to produce this album. You say that.
I'm sorry.
He's sprinkling his goods all over it.
I mean, I'm sure the guy's a great producer, but it's just the name Sprinkles.
Titty Sprinkles.
Like, he's like the Salt Bay of music. Just
dude, what if that's what he did? Like, he comes in there and he's just like, all right, you guys do whatever you're going to do and I'll take care of the rest. And they're just kind of like, huh?
What are you going to do?
And he just, shh. And you just hear, and he just like sprinkles. He sprinkles Aaron all over it.
No, this is what he does. Okay, so the guys are like, okay, so what are you going to do? It's like, don't worry about it. I got this. I have my own personal flavor I put on it. They kind of look at him like, what the hell are they talking about? He literally takes the vinyl record, the finished piece, in his like dark room with a single light shining right down the disc, and he looks at it and he caresses it real nicely and everything like that. Like he's some weird porn about to happen and shit.
Oh no!
And then he just grabs his essence of Aaron,
his essence, his EOA,
and just dash of it. Yeah, I know, just like that, just all in circles.
It's free real estate.
All over it. And he's like, it's done.
It's time to rock.
Just time to let go.
He sprinkles rock on it. It's time to rock.
And then he hands it to the, head of the company. He's like, it's done.
It's time.
Time to let it go.
It's very vital that you release this album. We don't have a title for this. I got one.
Vitals.
He straps a damn red bandana on like Rambo and just goes, he's like, it's very vital that you play this. That sounds like a good title.
He's like a sushi chef. He ties a bandana and like, he's done. He presents it like they do with the katanas. He's like, here you go. Master.
This is for you.
Use it with pride of the clan. This album is vital to your survival.
He's a treasure. Oh man. But yeah. This one's got some pretty cool tracks on it, yeah. Someone, Anyone,
Little Tyrants.
Yeah, Self-Starter, Modern Age, like oomph.
Desires is pretty innocent. Innocent, actually,
Yes.
I just remembered Innocent is a really good track because I think it's like an ode to like his having a kid, I think, at the time. If I'm mistaken.
I think
Or his own child is, I'm not sure, but it's talking about like the innocent soul basically of a child. And, just how pure and like loving and caring and happy they are. And that song is a really good song, just like an upbeat motion. But yeah, like Someone Anyone is kind of like the To the Wolves aspect I was talking about earlier. No, that and Little Tyrants is kind of like the both in this way. It's a very like punkish, like rebellious, kind of like anarchy kind of sounding music. Like, yeah, just let's do this shit,
Right.
Very like break the law, fuck the system. It just feels like that really like punk.
It was very aggressive for them. It was probably their most aggressive one at this point.
Yeah, Little Tyrants is just so aggressive. So is Someone Anyone, but Someone Anyone just it's a tone down just a little bit, but with that like kind of mainstream flow to it. And I still liked it regardless.
So we tell you all of this to jump into let me preface this by saying that the guys before this album had even been announced that it had been recorded or any of this, they said that this was going to be their last album. And the album is called Lowborn, which Cody and I both agree with each other that this is their absolute best work, and it is both our favorite Anberlin album.
Yeah, this is the prime of their whole era. Like a compilation of what they went through, what they've achieved, like just as a whole. I was so excited that this album hit because, like you had said earlier before we even recorded, there's literally no bad track on this album.
Nope.
And also an interesting thing is the first song and last song can be pretty much interchangeable because they sound so interesting and yet so similar to where you can put them in any order you want, and it basically comes out the same way no matter which way you listen to it.
Yeah, like either of those could have been a strong opening track because I always judge an album immediately upon hearing whatever the opening track is because I feel like an opening track for an album, no matter what style of music you play, should set the tone for the rest of the thing. Weird Destroyer is it's very reminiscent of some like earlier 30 Seconds to Mars kind of sounding stuff, and it's a very like face smashing in my opinion. The song in general is just goddamn, like it's so good, but as the album's progression happens, it's like I don't know, I can't wrap my head around how good this fucking thing is.
But yeah, on to the next track, which is Armageddon.
Haha, yes.
So this is a very like slow burn song, and it has its hard hitting moments, but it's a very like toned down, like just a very like kind of like a quiet build to like the whole rest of the song. Like the chorus is very hard hitting and just very soft at the same time, kind of like a weird mixture. But just I am my own Armageddon. Like it's such a huge like climactic drop to like how the tone is of the song. It's so well done, even though it's kind of like off-putting for most people, I would assume. So definitely a good track too.
And like I said before, we both said there's no bad track on here. My favorite on this one has got to be Stranger Ways.
This was the opening, like this was the hit for this album, and holy shit, like this
so 80s, dude.
Like it's very Depeche Mode, very just like that whole era of like that like electronic kind of what's a good way to put this?
It's very like there's elements of like some dark wave, there's elements of cold pop in there.
Yeah.
I think we were talking earlier, like I feel like it's Depeche Mode meets U2.
Right.
In a way. So especially because of like the delay on the guitar that's used in this song. Just
the subtle like
it draws you in like immediately.
Like the subtle like drum pattern that they have going on just kind of like engages you. Like it's so it sounds disturbing, but not like in a bad way. It's like it makes you like kind of question like what's going to happen. Like I must listen more to this.
Yeah, and as a drummer, like musician speaking, like I am a sucker for 4 on the floor drumming, especially when there's like some really good like double time hi-hat work happening like in this song. Because to me that's a good drive. Like if as long as you got that really good solid foundation, it leaves so much room for Steven as a vocalist to experiment with different melodies and not having to really adhere to certain like note patternings, but it also frees up the guitarist to not, like I'm speaking like rhythm section, drum and bass, have it down, give Steven and the guys an opportunity, guitar wise, vocally, to kind of experiment more. Like you have a scope, and then they can go anywhere. It spider webs out in so many different directions. I love this fucking song.
Which, speaking of, like, the video is just it's like a suburban like lifestyle happening, and it's like very like haunting at the same time, because like each member of the band like is in a different scenario, and it's like neighborhood basically. Then you see this like black like tendril like stuff coming out of nowhere, just basically like kind of spreading, and it's just it's daunting. It's very like haunting, but at the same time it's mesmerizing, it's engaging, and it's nostalgic, because like we said, it's just the very first thing that we thought of when we heard the song was just 80s, like a lot of fuck ton of 80s bass. It's just, it feels like a good callback to that era, for one. And I think this song probably is the best song that they've done pretty much through the whole entire discography, because of just everything that they put into the song and everything that they've learned along the way. Just they fine tooth and nail, like, no pun, they just fine combed like everything about it and just made the perfect song for like the whole entire listing of songs they have.
And then just when you think, hey, this can't get any better, oh no, along comes Velvet Covered Brick and just rocks your face off. A great track, man.
Which this is more of like a religious tone song too, because if you read up Velvet Covered Brick, this kind of, you know,
The Bible.
yeah.
I'm going to say it. The Bible.
Yeah. But not harping on the idea, the song is not hindered by the fact it's actually a good song regardless. So
It's more or less like suggestion speaking. You know what I mean?
it's not saying like
They're not preachy by any means. Like
they're not Bible thumping you.
Yeah, like, and that's one thing I think we've forgotten to mention earlier, like talking about them. None of the songs are preachy whatsoever. Just it's very like much more like choose your own adventure. This
Right.
is just experiences of ours.
It's like a progressive rock in a way. Like it's very like positive in a way.
Yeah. Then Atonement.
Which again goes along the same lines of like Innocent and Inevitable. It's a high emotional song on 11, basically. Because this song, like Inevitable, the very good love, you know, very heavily appreciative kind of emotion. Then you have Innocent, which is the like carefree, innocent, happy, you know, very spiritual side song. Atonement is like, okay, I feel regret. I feel that I've done wrong. I need to redeem myself. Like if you feel that like pressure on you.
Yeah.
Like that's how this song feels to you.
And let's go to the track that I honestly think should be in the Birds of Prey movie, Birds of Prey. Because going back and re-listening to this, because I hadn't listened to this album in a while, so whenever I knew we were going to be doing this, I went back and checked out all of them, but then I really dove back into Lowborn. And I was thinking, you know, if they get anybody to do a song on the soundtrack, regardless if it's like an original song or if it's a, you know, a pre-release track or, you know, what have you, do this song.
Yeah.
Like this would be obviously would be really cool to put on there. Just
I mean, the
title
name alone, yeah.
But other than the fact that it's a good song too.
Now, probably another favorite song of mine.
Yep.
Of this song, The
Yeah.
Center. Okay. There was a song that they did on the Lost Songs, or they basically done on one album. I can't remember which one it is, but they put it on Lost Songs. It was Dead American. And it's the same vibe, but it's very... It almost sounds political, anarchy, very like over the top. But the way that the vocal delivery is that very staticky, muffly like radio sound. Like he has like, if you ever imagine like back in the day of the World War II era where they had those microphones that they speak into to send out messages over the radio waves, that's the kind of sound quality that reminded me of.
Oh, you know, like those because there's like the actual the damn it, now I'm blanking on the cardioid,
Right.
And it's pretty much in a circle, like it looks like a circle with a plus sign going through the mic cardioid. Yeah, it's pretty much just an old school microphone, dude.
Yeah, that's what it reminds me of. It's just, like I said, it's very muffly, very staticky.
He probably sang on a bullet mic. Like that would have had the same effect too.
Yeah. I mean,
I love bullet microphones. I don't know if he did or not, but if he did, that was fucking cool.
I mean, it was a good touch to this song because it's just such a grungy song.
It's anthemic too, man.
Yeah.
It's very anthemic. Mm-hmm. And then just the title of it, Dissenter. You're just like, ooh, this is gonna be dirty.
Yeah. Get into the center of all your problems.
Get to the center.
Get to the center now. I did.
Do it. Okay, Shia. Don't shy away from anything now. But do it. Losing it all.
Get to your dissenter. Oh, yeah. Losing it all.
Losing it all. Losing it all.
This song, very vibey of old days. Old Anberlin.
I got that feeling too. Which was a nice callback. Because again, like Lowborn, the way I look at Lowborn is if this band walked into a studio and said, you know what? Let's pretend we're a brand new band all over again and that nobody's ever heard of us. And let's just like crank out some songs and kick them right in the nuts.
Yep.
This song kind of personifies like everything they've done. Old, middle, and what they're doing on this one.
Yeah, it's a good homage to, their journey, basically.
Journey to Dissenter of the Earth.
That way they're not losing it all. They've gained so much, but they're not losing what they've done.
Yeah.
So it's a good way to put it.
Hearing voices.
Now, I hadn't heard this song in a while, and I'm trying to recall like how it sounds. Because I think that was the one track that I kind of glanced over a lot.
Yeah, I mean, and again, it's not that it's bad. Like, because you listen like from front to back on here. It's not even a bad song at all. In fact, like, there's no bad song on here, but as far as like when you have an album progression, this one is, how do I put it? It's like it's the weaker of them all, but it's not terrible.
Right.
But it also at the same time belongs on here.
Yeah. It stands out enough to be part of this compilation, but again, it can be unimpactful compared to the other nine of them,
9 songs.
It's when you get the kind of feelings we have on the other songs, it's kind of hard to put this song above that because these songs are just fantastic, and it's hard for me to like this song as much as them, even though it's not a bad song. Like I said, it's not terrible. It's just it's easily glanced over because it's just not as hard hitting as I would like it to be in many ways.
And then the final track, which we once again say could have also been just as easily the opening track on here, Harbinger.
Which I notice a lot of their songs, their last track always has that vibe of like just it's a like it's instrumental, it's very just background noise.
Very ambient.
Very ambient. Very like there's something else happening, but it's not like vocal work or music. It's like just something. It's like it's
an experience.
Yeah, it's an experience happening in your ear holes, but it's a very subtle one. It's not like this like overdrawn like orchestral like bonanza. It's like just it's like a white noise sound machine, kind of subtle in a way.
I get what you're saying.
And it has like its tones here and there that kind of peaks up because like each album had their one song very end of the tail end that is like this. So
pretty much just like, hey, here's our closing moments, or here's like what we're gonna here's what we're gonna go for, and they do it. But yeah, as far as the actual collection of all these together, this is by far the absolute best collection of songs on one album from this band. Which leads us to their breakup. They broke up like right when this album had come out. They did a tour. Obviously they wanted to go say their farewells on the road to everybody. But they called it quits afterwards. Their final show was in November of 2014 in Orlando. And we mentioned before that in October they were going to like get together for a show in Tampa. and that was going to be with Under Oath, because Under Oath has been on tour. Like, they just got back together as well. And they played a show the day before at the Orpheum. So, I mean, a couple of shows. And then just this March, they were talking about doing some shows in Australia in May. And then in April, they were just like, oh, hey, guys, we're going to come tour in the United States for like 22 shows.
Which, yet again, I wish I can make one of those shows, because I would love to see them perform any Lowborn album song live.
Yeah, you know, and they've said that like they don't have any plans to do a full-blown comeback after these shows, but I did read an interview they did recently where Steven was talking about how, you know, he was missing his kids and his wife on tour all the time, and you know, it was just hard for him. The touring life was really hard for him, and like, you know, the band had kind of grown apart in so many different ways, and that these were not really so much a reunion as it was like a reconciliation.
Right.
And I think people get that way too, because you got to understand, people out there listening, that this is a band that have all been friends since like high school and younger, and then they're tossed into a bus for like 8 to 9 months out of the whole year, like every year.
Yeah.
That's a vicious cycle, especially when you think about the fact that their initial run was from 1998 as a band to 2014.
Yeah.
That's 14 years, dude.
It's nonstop.
14, 16 years. That's a lot of time.
Yeah. That hits hard. Like, that is a heavy like impact on you in so many ways.
Yeah. But, you know, I one thing I liked about the interview was the fact that there was no animosity. It was just like, hey, let's go have fun. He was talking about how he was actually looking, like, personally he was looking forward to doing these shows again. He didn't feel like it was an obligation. He didn't feel like it was going to be grueling. And that's how it should feel. You shouldn't feel like, of course, like everything, like in the entertainment industry, including like radio, podcasting, music, artwork, everything about it is a job. But to have fun while you're doing it is probably the reason any of us get into doing what we do, especially these guys.
Yep.
You want to have fun while you do it. And they weren't having fun anymore. So I definitely get when it's time to like call it a day.
Hang up the guitar and the mic, yeah.
Yeah. But the fact that they're coming out and they're going to have fun again, and you never know. Like, sure, this might just be, hey, let's go play some music together. It's been years.
Right.
You never know. They might just be like, do you all want to do this more? They could, even if they never did another album, they could absolutely do like one-off tours like every so often and still have a lot of people show up to their shows, and they could still have fun playing music. Because I know Steven does his own thing now too.
Yeah, isn't he like a not a producer? I think he's some kind of like album-based.
Well, he has like a solo project, but I know that he's doing ministry, or he's like the head of a church in New Mexico now, or something like that. Which
I remember that, but I think he was like doing his own like music stuff on the side, like he said, like his own solo project.
we did like Anchor and Braille, like he
Yeah.
did that, but I think they just did one like in 2016. I don't know if he's got any like, he did Wildfires. That's what it was. It was 2017. He did Wildfires.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's been doing music, you know, regardless. So.
But yeah, like you said, just being close to his family while doing that, I mean, that helped him out a lot more too. And that, I think, at the same time, while he was talking about, you know, the band, the touring, and everything like that, everything kind of pushed the life apart for each person individually. I think each person was like, they missed that. They miss being able to jam out with each other and be like, hey, let's go and play, you know, 5 or 6 song set and, you know, just have fun. I think that's what draw them together just for one more tour, maybe a couple more. We don't know. But for right now, we're getting, you know, that feeling again that they had from day one. It's like, look, let's just do this because we obviously had fun doing it at one point. We miss it. Let's just go out there and, you know, rock it out.
Yeah, and again, that's more than anybody, you know, had asked for. You know, it was more or less like, hey, you know, and the way I feel with a lot of bands that split is like, you know, a lot of people, they get selfish and like, oh, why'd they break up? And like, oh, they should have done that, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, dude, at the end of the day, they're people like we are. You know, like I always hope that when bands do like call it a day or they split, I honestly, truthfully hope that for their mental health that they're okay.
Yeah.
They're happy. They are fulfilled. That's the word I was looking for. That they're fulfilled with what they've accomplished and what they've done, and that
Same with their family too. Like,
Yeah.
to make sure that they're also happy and healthy as well, not just that individual person.
yep.
So definitely understand. I mean, like I stated in the beginning, I was heartbroken when they broke up, but I definitely
Feel your
understood. Yeah, I mean, it's life. You
Yeah.
don't expect every single band to be like AC/DC that they're
God.
still touring in their 70s.
Angus is going to be on stage as a fucking skeleton eventually, dude. Like,
Yeah, they're gonna have to hold him up like a marionette, try to make him do the same freaking, kicking across the stage.
oh
and
my
shit.
god, that I just pictured that,
It's
and
go-
I can't unsee it.
They're gonna be like, he needs to go to the nursing home. It's like, nah, I still got some rock left in me.
It's hogwash. I got rock left in me. Like, dude, he did this interview one time. I know I'm getting off track, but it was really funny. Speaking of the hogwash thing, he did this interview on Behind the Music whenever they were doing AC/DC's episode, and he was talking about how they were going to name the album Highway to Hell. And I don't remember what the hell he said, but he said some record exec was just like, oh, you got to change the name to this, and they gave him a name. He's like, oh, that's hogwash. We're gonna call it Highway to Hell. I'm like, oh my god, who says hogwash anymore?
Angus does.
Rubbish. It's rubbish. I say a lot of rubbish.
Throw that rubbish away. Maybe they need Aaron Sprinkles to put some of his sprinkles on there.
Free real estate.
No, they probably like Angus looked at us like, Aaron, what's your take on it? It's rubbish. Let me sprinkle some goodness on there. Highway to Hell. That works.
I like it. I like it a lot. But yeah, I'm trying to think, because we recorded this, like you're hearing it now, but we've actually recorded this 2 weeks prior. So they will already be on tour still by the time that you've read this. Or read this, by the time that you've seen and heard this.
You've
fucking episode.
audibly read this. Yeah.
Go to the show notes and read everything. I'm just kidding. But no, they are going to be in Tennessee and Pensacola in August. I really hope that by the time this is dropped, you haven't missed the fucking tour.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, but still.
My biggest suggestion, advice to everybody, if you haven't heard any of their music, you have to check out at least one album. And we definitely recommend at least starting off from the beginning. But for me, and I know for him as well, the main three albums to definitely listen to is Lowborn, Cities, and Dark is the Way.
Yep.
Like, those are the killer 3 tracks.
They are vital
albums.
to your listening.
Right. Now, all the other albums have great songs too. We can probably recommend individual ones for that, but those are the 3 main ones you have to listen to regardless.
Yep.
And if you ever catch them in your city, please do not miss them, because like I said, I saw them live in 2013 when Tour de Vital was going around. They perform so fucking well. Even Steven does, I don't know if he still does it, he does piano songs. Like, he'll do covers of his own songs, but piano based. And it's so beautiful. Like, you have to go to their shows.
Yeah, go to the show and find out for yourself.
Yes. And hopefully he will rock your face off in your face if you're 2 to 3 rows back. Because, oh my God, that is so awesome.
Right. That's all we got for this. Yep. Check out past, present, and future episodes of the Super Media Bros on supermediabrospodcast.com. Everything. All over there. All over your face, all over your earbuds, in your phones. And
Audibly read our stuff.
yeah, audibly read our stuff, because I am a fucking idiot.
We're like audiobooks. Just all the show notes are right there, and just listen to us tell you what they are.
Just make one podcast episode where we put randomness in the show notes, and everybody that listens, we tell you when to scroll up, you'll scroll up, and we'll just start reading it to you like an audiobook. It's like audio notes.
It's like scripted commentary.
Yeah, really. Yeah, been there, done that.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, go check our stuff out over there.
VJ Podcast on the microphone.
Movie. Podcast.
Podcast is on. The podcast is on.
Hello.
Mamma Mia.
God, I love that movie.
Oh man.
So yeah, go to patreon.com if you'd like to support us monetarily. That's patreon.com/supermediabros. Also in the show notes.
The 2 tiers,
Yeah,
if you will.
not from our eyes, but for your listening pleasure. There's a $2 tier where you get our love and support, and you do the same for us. But if you want some swag and some extra shit, that's the $5 tier. That's when you get stickers, buttons, and some coasters, and some extra episodes from us. Exclusive.
What do we talk about? Well, let me tell you what we talk about. Redacted.
Detained!
And that's everything we talked about.
Just that static. Yeet! On out of here.
Yep.
Oh! What was that?
I think that was a Patreon episode.
Oh, wow. It just flew over our heads.
Yeah. And into the Patreon people themselves.
Whoa, there's another one.
Man, there's a bunch of them.
Oh, my God. Whoa! Okay, hey, I think that was our merch store.
Oh, wow. Isn't everything $5 off still?
Everything's $5 off.
Holy shit.
That's right. Go to storefrontier.com in the show notes below. Also, click the link. Go buy a t-shirt. Buy a tank top.
.com.
Dude, it's hot. It's hot as hell right now. We got tank tops. We know you're sweaty.
Get tanked up.
Mm-hmm.
And we will thank you for it.
Thank you very much. Very, very much.
Yes. Yeah. Put us on your body. We know your body's free real estate. Let us invest. It's free real estate.
We're on YouTube.
There you go.
Every week.
YouTube.
Yeah, every Friday. Every Friday, a new episode drops on YouTube. You can listen to us there.
Yes.
We're eventually going to do some vlogging, some live action stuff in the future. We're kind of in the works of planning some of that out. But we wanted to go ahead and secure the channel, get our episodes up there. You can see or listen. You can see our faces, and you can listen to us, and you can hear some audio clips from the episodes, or you can listen to the whole episode. It's a lot of fun.
Whatever you feel like doing.
Yeah, but
Go check it out.
definitely check it out. Get us to 100 subscribers because we are doing a giveaway. Whoever gets to 100 subscribers for us, you are all entered. It doesn't matter if you subscribe now or if you're the 100th subscriber. You are entered to win a Super Media Bros merch package. That is going to be a t-shirt, a sticker, a button, and a coaster. All on us. You can have it. It's all for you.
So what are you waiting for? Go.
That's free stuff. The name of the YouTube channel is not free stuff, but it's free stuff for you.
Yes.
All up in your face.
We do these for you guys. We give you free shit, but you got to help us out.
So. We're also doing giveaways on Twitter at @SuperMediaBros_. Every 50 followers, we're giving away a movie from our good buddies over at the Cinema Epoch Studios. And yeah.
A lot of them we reviewed, so you know what they're like. Mm-hmm. So you know they're gems.
Exactly. And we're waiting until we get to, I think around 800 followers, we're going to announce a really, really awesome. How is it? Awesome.
Awesome.
We're going to have an awesome giveaway announcement. And I think we are going to be giving this giant deal to 4 people. So definitely stay tuned for that.
Dun, dun, dun.
Join the fun on Facebook.com/SuperMediaBros. You can look, listen, and talk to us.
You can like, heart, haha, all the shit.
You can angry react.
I mean, you have no reason to angry react, but the option's still there.
Angry act. That's what you should call it.
Angry act.
Angry act. And as always, Instagram.com/SuperMediaBrosPodcast.
Which, yet again, there's going to be a picture on there from today's episode that is going to reflect how stupid I am.
And how stupid we are as a whole. So
Yes.
come look at our stupid pictures.
I mean, what more can we tell you? They're stupid pictures. They're on Instagram. It's that easy to just go, hey, oh, look at that. They are stupid.
They're going to make you go,
What the fuck?
Yeah.
always. Just saying. You want to know what we're doing next week? I know what you know, but I'm asking the people listening.
Do they?
Do you out there listening in your car, at your computer at work, which you need to be doing it very stealthily? Shh. Be quiet. Your boss is right around the corner.
Pauses.
Yeah, pauses and come right back. Okay, you're back. Your boss is going to the bathroom because he spilled coffee all over his brand new tie and he's pretty pissed off.
Also, your boss is a dick.
He's a big old dick. She's a big old dick. We're all dicks. Hey, hide under your desk and pretend you're out to lunch and just listen to the rest of this podcast.
I just recalled the AC/DC song Big Balls.
He's got big balls and she's got big balls, but
We've got the biggest balls of them all.
that's right. Super Media Balls Podcast.
The world's quietest podcast.
God damn it. I do a whole episode like that, I'm going to be freaking hoarse. I'm going to be hoarse like Anberlin's album cover.
Yeah. Just falling down the ground like shit.
Don't know what the hell that sound was supposed to be, but it was a sound.
Why don't we do that as one of the YouTube videos?
Just a whispering.
Yeah. We'll talk like this.
It would be like almost ASMR. I'm sorry. Would you listen to a whispering episode? Hey, how you doing, Mom? Let me whisper in here.
You almost sounded like Dr. Claw.
I'm sorry.
It's free real estate. Come listen to us next time, Gadget, on the next episode.
Yes.
Tell them.
Sorry. Yeah, we got off track there. So the next episode that we're going to be doing is another Cult Cinema Showdown. Boy, oh boy. It's still July. So, we're going out with a bang.
Yes.
Do you like Chuck Norris?
Who doesn't?
We love Chuck Norris.
He cured cancer with his tears.
That's it. We're going to be taking Invasion USA, and we're going to be throwing it up against the equally like rambunctious and like blowing shit up Action USA.
Both have USA in the title, so you know you're in for a treat.
It's July.
Patriotism.
Watch these movies with us, or before you hang out with us and, hear about it, or after you've heard about it, and go watch them. Just do it. I'm telling you.
You will not be disappointed.
No, you will not be. We swear on everything.
Because Chuck Norris.
And the other movie. But Chuck Norris and the other movie. But God, guys,
That should be the title of the episode. Chuck Norris and the other movie.
Chuck Norris and the other movie. Fuck Lost, the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's what we're going to be doing. So be on the lookout for that. And
Going to be a good time.
Yeah, as for us this week, we're going to get out of here and let you guys do whatever you're doing. Get back to work. Get back to work, you corporate slave.
No.
We're just kidding. You're not a corporate slave. You're doing your due diligence to make your money.
And you're getting paid shit for it.
That's true. This was Lowborn in Vital Cities, episode 81. For this week, I've been Midnight Agent Raw.
I've been O'Connor.
Shades on.
We're off.